This will be a mindless thought, mindless talk, so may not make much sense. But when it comes down to liberation, it's beyond to make sense in the mind. So if you can relate to that, which means you have to have time to go through this. Because if you're rushing to get something, you won't get it. That's my view. So all my videos, I often post just to make sure that I don't lose that sense, not to be too occupied in the mind. Of course, we have to be occupied in the mind to do something. Like I'm preparing for a trip, I have to organize and bring the things necessary and organize so that when I'm gone, this place will be clear. But besides that, and besides whatever needs to be done to prepare the ticket, organize the passport and so forth, you can have free time. Or you can have lots of brain-related activities if you want to, if I want to. But this is not for that. I'm going to talk about Shin Buddhism, mainly about Myokonin, somewhat related to Zen. But at the end, like I said at the beginning, this is a mindless talk, mindless thought. Because when you are, let's say, saved from the people's suffering, you are beyond any mind activities. That's what I see. If you want to really save people, you can work hard on it. But when it's done, all you can do is let things happen. Because ultimately, if I may say so, it's not your responsibility, because after you've done your best, you let the situation to happen by itself. As simple as that. So there's a limit as to how we use the brain, especially when we face the difficulties, something that we cannot do much about. Then we may have a state of mind like my friend told me yesterday at YMCA when he saw me, why do you have a smile put on your face? He asked that, and I said, because I'm retarded. He laughed. But I think the point of that is that, okay, you can talk about all the ups and downs and difficulties, but when you have done everything, you get to nothingness. You leave everything for the God, if you like the term, or the Amida Buddha. So we fluctuate using the mind and not using the mind. And I mentioned about the Shila Samadhi Panya. You do the best to use your mind, the brain, and conduct all the things that you can do. Then you get to the state of Samadhi, mindless state, that you leave everything as if so everything organizes itself as a way of nature. And you ride on that one. Because you exhaust yourself, that's all you can do. Like the image of floating on the water. And many people get drowned because they go against the riptide or panic. But if you let go, the nature has a way to float, and you have a way possibly to survive. So let me move on how I want to structure this, again a little bit playful, but somewhat related to Zen and using the mind intellect, but also relating to Shin Buddhism. One of the first talk is about the Genza. the name of the person, Genza. As many other Myokonin, like Osono I have here in my note that I want to talk about, they are not as developed in the use of writing, reading. Maybe because of that they tend to not use the brain but become more intuitively assess the situation to come up with whatever they can. So Osono says, her famous saying is, when someone asks, how do I get to the level that you have accomplished, as if you are like a peaceful person, Amida Buddha, and her answer was, whatever happens, just accept it, say hi in Japanese, meaning yes. So no argument. So not using mind. That's the same thing as in samadhi. Be in the now, be aware. Mind is clear. Something pops up, but like clouds, it's dissipate. So, relating to my response to my friend, retarded, maybe a little bit, I don't mean to be sarcastic, but you feel like after you've done everything, fool. Because that's what it is. So, back to Genza, Myokonin. I think he lived perhaps 100 years ago or something, and there's lots of stories. Someone wrote for him about Myokonin because there are many interesting people who's got this quality. So whatever happened, there's a moment of conversion, if that's the right word. So he get the idea of Namu Amida Butsu, that he become Namu Amida Butsu, meaning that the vow of Amida, to serve people, and that's in Shin Buddhism they call Tariki, other power. So it's not your power, not your brain power. Whatever you do, it's beyond that. So, Genza's case, when he got that belief or awakening or conversion, that's when he was with the cow that he took care of. And he spent time with the cow, going this way and that way. And on the way back from the field, his cow, I forgot the name of the cow, but was carrying the stuff for him. And that triggered him. This is what people are talking about, the conversion or Amida's vow. Because he was carrying the grasses, but realized that he doesn't have to, and then the cow could carry for him. When it happened, he got the idea of Amida's vow. Amida is the one to carry the problem for you. You don't have to. That's when he had a total faith that he doesn't have to, which is counterintuitive because many people are equipped with the brain and they are told from the younger days, use your brain. But here, the point is about letting go. Que sera, sera. It happens that it happens. So, what we do in our mind is the logic. A, B, and X, Y, Z. The words, combination, and end result. So there's a purpose and the process to get to the achieving the purpose. But the logic, 1 + 1 is 2, is, I call the linear logic, that's very one-dimensional. So there are many logic that the parents would tell you. You clean this up, you learn this, don't do that, that is a dangerous situation. Be careful with that person. Each of them are like a snapshot of the logic, what you should and shouldn't do. But life is not the simple linear logic. The person that was idiot you thought may not be idiot. The things that you clean up should be the right thing, but you may be messing up something else. You have to look all from different angles, and we don't get the equipped skill to do that. So the way I see the linear logic, especially when you're occupied, is dangerous because it's just if I was punched, then I have to punch back. Something like that. And then I hear the story of war and the problems in the organization. People retain that linear logic. That is the bad person. This is the right thing. But it's not holistic. It's not synthesizing the information. That depending upon the situation, for example, action may be different, or the information source may be limited. So that causes us to be in trouble because everybody using the brain and think that's the right thing to do, and then depends on the ego of each person. There will be a conflict between. So it's just obvious. So how to orchestrate that? And actually that's what I did in my management consulting business in organization to organize. I'm not going to go into detail with the mini company idea and glassful management so that people be responsible, be able to share what's important, customer-supplier relationship to be respected, and make situation clear so that there's less confusion. Very simple idea. And I spent 40 years doing that. But that same situation happened within us, that there's mini me with different logic, A, B, X, Y, Z, but you have to navigate. You cannot just pinpoint one logic and plug it and put it into practice. You do, but there's much more to it about what's happening in terms of what information we get, how to process it. It's tremendously amazing the way to live is, because if you think about it, for anyone to be alive using the logic, how can you prove that you live in your mind? Let's see if I'm running out of my battery. I think it's still okay. Let me just make sure. Okay, it's still there. So, sorry. Where was I? Linear logic has limitation. Ego has limitation. That we are built up to use the brain only has limitation. That's why the point of Shila Samadhi Panya, which is basically do your best to use your brain, but after a while you let go, you let things settle and let what's inside of you. Listen to your heart. There's a self-organizing process in our life, which is something beyond the power of brain. It has such a value to use it well, but there's limitation. And for that to be captured, we have this samadhi process, which is sort of like self-organizing all the information we got inside of us. I call mini-me's and mini-me's. And let that sort out the solution, not just using the mind or the brain. There are two different universes, I call it, and has to be connected. And the way to connect It's after using the brain as much as possible, do the right conduct, get into the samadhi state of retarded mindlessness. And in that state, just like a dream would happen, things start to orchestrate itself as if there's another universe, another me living inside of me. Call it the deeper part of the consciousness. Because there are lots of memories, and when you're sleeping, they just sort of bounce around and orchestrate, so they make the best of what to do in terms of how to live. That's the way I see the power of listening to the heart, or letting you to let go of your ego. Or you say hi, as I mentioned at Osono, Myokonin's case, Osono's case, the woman. So once she fell into the dirty ditch, and she came out saying Namami Damatsu, instead of complaining, the word that she said was, "Thank you, Amida, to realize me, that I'm in that dirty ditch, amazing trouble in life, but with not the self-power, but other power of Amida Buddha, I'm happy that I'm not just be in that ditch, but I can be cleaned up, accepting, the hardship, acceptance." So this is like a retarded logic. It's beyond the logic is the point. But the point is that beyond human logic is nature's way of things to happen. I mentioned about the chaos in some of the videos. It's chaotic process of what's happening inside of us. Linear logic is easy, the brain is not difficult, but what's underneath is like a spark of the neurons going back and forth. And that's what the AI is getting into, to realize the potential of that unknown process of coming up with a solution, because they go through all sorts of combination to come up with the best outcome, which is like eating all the stuff of different nutrition, and somehow body has a way of dealing with, finding the right process, right way of bringing the energy into or stored and then push it out, or controlling the blood level, hormone, or whatever to make us alive. The brain cannot do that. Linear logic cannot do that. So that's the basic point. So let me just get back to 2 points that I may have shared. One I'm sure I shared before was about the Shoma, another Myokonin, and the stories that people come because they think he's got the awakening and happy life that he found by saying Namami Damatsu. So they ask, how do you do that? And his answer was, I have no idea. I don't understand it. Don't ask me. So, why is it so? Because it's Amida to do the job. It's not your job. It's not ego, your self-power, but the other power to make it happen. So you don't comprehend the logic. And that's what I said at the beginning, mindless talk. Brain left and let things to happen. So at the end, what the bottom line of this is that you depend on the absolute power beyond the linear logic, the brain. Brain has its own power and the way to use it, but you have to listen to your heart. That's what the Dalai Lama said to my book, in his foreword for my book, Results from the Heart. So, bottom line, retardedness it may appear. But if you have a faith that you're doing and asking the best for the Amidas to save you, or it could be God or the law of nature, law of universe, whatever the term. Because nature would put us on earth. The law of nature is making us alive without us controlling the blood flow or anything. Within us there is the power. And the Amida power or the God, the law of nature is out there, but it's also functioning inside of us. So, fine, let's use our brain. But at the same time, listen to how, like Shila Samadipanya, find a way to do it. So that's the story of Myokonin, Shin Buddhism, other power compared to self-power or ego. And that Zen has more of an intellectual element to it, as if to make sure that the brain logic is not overpowering. But at the end, the Shin, Myokonin idea and Zen has a lot to share as a common base, foundation. So that was my mindless thought, mindless talk, and point of other power. I may have used my logic, but it's beyond the logic. If you don't understand, that's what it is. But there's a faith about high, yes, acceptance, let go, and live accordingly. Perhaps to be seen like a retard is not the good way to live in the society. But maybe we need some of that, not just the brain heavy. Time is important. What's here, what you get. Not you're getting it, you're letting go of you. Counterintuitive, the paradox. Hope you enjoy your life.